to our next interview. Today it's my honor to be interviewing, to be in this seat, interviewing Dr. Singh. So thanks for being here today and being interviewed.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
So it's a real honor for me to do this because Dr. Singh is a mentor to me, and one of the reasons why I came to practice at Holistic Healing Arts. So this is going to be interesting.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
Thank you. So first question is, how long have you been in practice?
So Dr. Albano, this will be my 19th year in practice.
Wow,
you know, when I say that out loud, it is, you know, to a certain extent unbelievable to think it's been 19 years. And yes, I do look young, but that's naturopathic medicine in action. So to know that, you know, in 2021 it'll be 20 years in practice, I feel very grateful for that. And, you know, similar to you, my mentor was Dr. Hauk. And that was one of the prime reasons of joining this clinic. And this clinic has been nothing but just positiveness for me in many ways.
You know, 19 years, my goodness, like that's an accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I imagine over that time you've seen a variety of different health concerns in your practice. What would you say is maybe the most common, what are the most common things that you tend to see?
Good question. And yes, I think all of us are fairly eclectic. We see everything across the spectrum. But what I would say is I do tend to see a lot of cases that revolve around stress, anxiety, depression. I would say that's definitely a large part of my practice. Pain management is a close second. And then I think, you know, in terms of our, both of us being IV certified, it's opening up a paradigm for, you know, IV therapy being supportive to certain concerns, such as, you know, supportive to cancer, chronic disease states like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, migraines, headaches.
Okay. So a lot of mental health.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and pain management, and then a whole area of IV, which can be used for a variety of different concerns.
That's right.
If you were to have any advice for people out there, just some, maybe 2 or 3 things, some pieces of well-being that they could do for their health, what would be maybe your top things?
Again, a good question. I think definitely one of the things I feel, which is pretty well all across the board, regardless of what someone is coming in with, is our ability as individuals to deal with and effectively manage the stress in our lives. This is definitely a huge area which can contribute to chronic disease states. So it's learning and knowing what those proper tools and strategies are going to be to manage your stress. We all know there's good and bad stress, but the body will respond the same way regardless of what that demand is on us. And both you and I know that short-term stresses, your body's able to adapt, we're able to get through them, but it's that long-term chronic day in, day out, and who doesn't have demands in their life? But I think the balance has to be there to ensure that you don't set yourself up for chronic disease. So that would be one thing. So whether it's including exercise in your regime, we all should be moving as much as possible and as much as our body will allow us to. Yoga, meditation, deep breathing, journaling. I also think on the angle of stress, we all need, Dr. Albano, to feel a sense of purpose every day. And I feel in my practice, at least, when I see individuals not having a purpose, that can set up for, you know, isolation and further, you know, anxiety and depression and a disconnect, not only from themselves but to society, right? So every day, if there is something that gets them excited or a purpose, I think we all need to do that. So it could be volunteering for an organization. So there has to be some type of strategy. So that's the number one thing I would say, is that we need tools to effectively manage stress. Second, I think diet is going to play a role. If I was to give someone advice, is we have to, we all know at the end of the day what's good for us and what's not. I don't think it's rocket science, but keeping accountable to eating healthy, wholesome foods, limiting those foods that we know are not healthy for us. So those would be number one, stress management, dietary considerations. And the third is there are some nutritional components that I feel are important, even if your diet is amazing, you have your stress in check. And those two favorite of mine are vitamin C and omega-3 supplementation. I think I always like to start there, especially if someone feels they're just healthy and they're coming in to get some advice. No matter how well we eat, our body is in constant demand of vitamin C as a nutrient. And then omega-3, as we know, we can't manufacture those omega-3s, so we need to definitely get it through the diet. Or supplementation, sorry. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for those. And so it seems like a very multifactorial approach. Like someone could be coming in with, mental health concerns or just stress, day-to-day stressors, and you want to help them manage that, because if chronically it could lead to other things like pain or like chronic disease. So being able to talk to them about the mental emotional component to it and give them dietary advice and maybe tweak supplementation. So it sounds like it's a nice holistic approach that you try to take with people.
Absolutely. The only other comment I'll make is that oftentimes the stress is obvious, when a patient comes to any one of us, but then there's other times where they may be coming in with, let's say, chronic stomach issues or chronic headaches or migraines, and we obviously will do our full thorough intake, but after a few visits you start to investigate and learn that there's actually underlying stress components, which is why they're not being able to move forward. So I guess the end conclusion is that definitely is an area that all of us need to be working on, and how do we bring that balance into our lives?
Well, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me today. And so you heard it from Dr. Singh. So join us again for another video. Thank you.
Thank you.